Block 45 of the Tunisian Sampler Afghan is the Snowflakes block, and this block is made using a combination of two different stitches, the treble crochet and the knit stitch. We've done this in several blocks prior to this, and it's the treble crochet and its placement that causes the differing patterns. So let me show you how that's done. The length or number of stitches that you use are multiples of 9, and then you add 2 to that total. So for my sample, I'm doing 11, 9 plus 2. I think they call for you to do 29 in the pattern, which would be 3 times 9 plus 2. And I will explain, since I'm doing 36, how I had to do increase it to 38 in order to get this to work. Now you start out doing your base row plus rows 2, 3, and 4 are knit stitch rows. Row 5 starts the treble crochet row. And to start with, you knit stitch 5, and then we're going to do a series of 3 treble crochets here in this 5th stitch. The first one is going to go back to line up with the 2nd stitch on the row, so it'll be done right here. Then we'll skip 2 to get even with the stitch we're on right now to do another. Then we'll skip 2 to do the 3rd one, and each of these is done in the stitch 3 rows below. So we yarn over 2, and then I have to go back to the 2nd knit stitch, which will be right here, and we go through both halves of the stitch. It's a little tricky to do when I'm on camera here, so bear with my struggles here. I'm going to go right here. We go through both halves of the stitch, we yarn over and bring up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and draw through 2 3 times. Okay, so the first one is made. The next one is just straight down. Go through both loops. Almost there. Doggone it. I'm trying to stay on the camera. Oh, for goodness sakes, I pulled that one out too. Then we'll do the 3rd one. And we're going to skip this one and go into this one. And I promise you, it's a lot easier Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. If you're not doing it in front of your phone. Okay, so I've got the 3 done. It's not pretty looking. Okay, so the next thing would be, if you were proceeding on to the next snowflake, would be to knit 9 and then repeat the procedure where you go behind 2 and then vertical and then forward 2 and then knit stitch 9 in between. Since this is just a sample of 11, I'm going to knit stitch the rest of the way across the row. I'm going to yarn over, draw through 1, then yarn over, draw through 2 for the other half of the row. Then I'm going to knit stitch 2 more rows to get to the second treble crochet row of the pattern, and I'll be right back. Row 8. We're going to start with 2 knit stitches. Then we're going to skip the next 2 and treble crochet 3 rows down, which should bring us right to the point of the last treble crochet row. So we're going to go right here and do a treble crochet. Then I'm going to do 3 knit stitches. And there's 1, 2, 3, and I should be lined up to be able to do a treble crochet straight down in the same stitch I just used. Then I'm going to do 3 knit stitches. And I'm going to go backwards and do a treble crochet back to this one, which I'm not even going to bother to make you watch me struggle through doing that on camera. It's much easier to do if I'm just looking at it straight on. You repeat this process every 3 for every 3 knit stitches. You're going to do a treble crochet, and you're either going to go forwards, straight down, or backwards. So you just follow that procedure all the way across. And let me just show you the pattern here. Now, this was a half block for me on mine, as those of you that have been following along are aware, that every other column I'm starting with a half block, which is 13 rows. And so in order to make this work, the pattern itself to start with was 8 rows. And I have 13 here, so I added 2 rows, knit stitch rows to the beginning, and then 3 to the back. If you're doing this as individual blocks, they have you do 5 knit stitch rows in between each series of snowflake rows, or snowflake pattern I should say, since it's a series of rows. To come up to the 38, what I did to go from 36 to 38 so that I had multiples of 9 plus 2, what I did was I did a stitch into the space between the posts here, and I did the same thing at this end to get me up to the 38 stitches to work all the way across the pattern with 38 stitches. And then I finished off my column with the sashing, the horizontal sashing. So that is block 45, the Snowflakes block. We have one more column after this that will have 1, 2, 3, 7 more blocks, and then we're done with the Afghan. So That's block 45, Snowflakes block. Thanks for watching.